Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you're having a wonderful shelter-at-home day today. Welcome to this session with Cisco in collaboration with the Silicon Valley Education Foundation. We are very excited to bring you a conversation about cool and trendy STEM careers today on the Techie Tuesday. I hope many of you are thinking about STEM careers. It's literally coolest and trendiest thing to do today, right? Whether you want to be hanging out in data centers or having some fun lunches, as you can see, or designing cars, designing Apple Watches, or even electric guitars, right? Who could imagine that, right? Whether you are interested in music or exercising, or I'm sure many of you are on Instagram, Snapchat. Would you be wanting to design those things than just be users? That's what STEM careers brings to you. Anyway, this is Paula Patel. I'm a senior product manager at Cisco Systems, designing some of the products that you don't touch in your day-to-day life directly, but indirectly. So I'm going to get started with what influenced me on going into STEM and how my careers come through, and any questions you have for me or for the team here, please put them in the chat window later. So before I get started, let's work through the webinar etiquettes first, right? It's about STEM. So we have this little cartoon here. What does STEM mean? Yeah, science, technology, engineering, math. No, it means stop texting for the next 60 minutes, okay? So for now, let's talk about STEM in a career side of things. So little logistics, please turn off your video and mute yourself. That helps us from a webinar side. Definitely you can put in any questions into the chat box. Sue Lipsey, who is monitoring, who's hosting this webinar, she is taking questions in the chat window, or you can also put the comments on Facebook Live. Either works for us. We will be answering questions towards the end of the session, and we will read all the questions at the end. Thank you so much again for attending today, and we are very excited to have you on today. So let's go into the important things of your life, right? Your career is the one that raises your awareness, right? So start with a little quote, right? Your career is your personal power as you go through your 20s, your 30s, and then you go into your next phase of your life, right? Career is going to bring your personal power to it, and therefore you've got to do what it takes either to make the career best for you or change it. And then there is the other quote from Sheryl Sanders, who used to be COO of Facebook. Many of you might have heard about her, right? You have the ambition to lean into your career and run the world. Your career is going to get you to run the world. And I know all of us have a passion to be like, you know, running our life, running the world. And we want to be in control of our life, not somebody else control it, right? And that's where your career and what you think through your high school years for your career is really important. So for me, my inspiration was my mother. She was a doctor. She was one of the very few doctors in the 1950s when she became a doctor. When she went to medical school, she was among 4 women in the batch. I know in today's world, we don't see that many doctors still, but there is still a lot more family doctors, OBGYNs. She was one of the few, and she's always been my inspiration. And today she is almost in her 90s, and she coaches us 3 daughters and 7 grandchildren as you need to be independent. Whatever you do, you need to be thinking independently. You need to be bold. And what is going to get you there is your confidence in yourself. And your education, your career is going to build that confidence in you. That's where education and a career like STEM is going to be very important going into the next phase of your life for a lot of you students of today. So my STEM journey through the education, right? As most of you have been through this, right? You've been through a lot of different careers, and I've not said what I wanted to be when I was 5 years old, right? A lot of us start with either playing with dolls or playing with cars or playing with police cars and all of those when you're at a young age of 5. And then you get to be 10 and you want to be an astronaut or you want to be a scientist or you want to be a police officer, a fire truck driver, right? A lot of those things come into your mind at 10. Your creativity is at the best, right? Your learning ability is at the best. So then for me, the same thing, right? At 10, I wanted to be an astronaut for whatever reason. I can't remember now, but that's what it was. I wanted to touch the sky, right? At some point, fly high. And then at 13, my mom, as I said, was still my inspiration right before I hit my teenage years when you fight a lot with your mom. That time, I want to be a doctor, just like my mom. And then I volunteered at her clinic a few times, and I'm like, I could not see the blood, right? So I'm like, okay, that's not for me. Finally, at 16, I'm in high school. What do I want to do? I still want to have my own career. I still want to be independent. And I wanted to be unique. And I think it now stays. Being an engineer for a woman was very unique. It's still unique, but it was unique to that time very much. So I studied hard through high school years, got into the top 2 schools of engineering in Mumbai, and you know Mumbai is among the top 10 most populous cities in the world. So it was kind of cool, right? It was a bold move. I was one among 10 girls out of 60 in my class, which is very small amount of girls. And, you know, everybody was kind of different personalities, came from different backgrounds, but it was kind of fun 4 years of engineering. You learn a lot of things. And, you know, that time, Dad was my hero. So I wanted to be like my dad, who was an engineer. So I went to that career. And now today, I'm a product manager, but I do not want to lose the ability of education. Education is one thing that's going to be important through your life, and you are going to be always learning, right? That's what you need to be open-minded about. Education through your high school years, college years is great, but there is a piece of education that you go through whether you're in your 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, whatever, right? And last year, I got into this. I got into Stanford Business School LEAD program, and I'm still studying, right? Now, I want to apply my technology background into a more business sense, and that's what I'm studying towards. So it's kind of, you know, this is my STEM journey from starting wanted to be an astronaut to a medical doctor to an engineer, and now a product manager. And also studying business school. It's a 1-year program certification at Stanford, takes up a lot of time. It's an online program, so that's great because I can balance my life, balance my work, all of it together, and balance the shelter at home, right? That's the best part right now. So let me go through my journey, right? And also, please put in your questions in the chat window or Facebook Live. I would like to reiterate that. My journey started with at 16 when I was in 12th grade, or maybe even in 11th grade. I started thinking, okay, I love math more than bio. I want to do something towards math and physics. And even today, you know, I tell my kids, physics is part of your day-to-day life. Whether you are like, you know, brushing your teeth and the angle you use to brush your teeth in the morning or sleeping in the right posture at night, physics is part of your daily life. And that's where was my passion, right? And that's where the engineering, I applied for bachelor's in electrical engineering, got into it. As I mentioned, I wanted to be unique. I wanted to be bold, choose an uncommon career path for a woman, for a girl, a high schooler. And that's what I did. And then I had the opportunity with my parents also moving here. We were settling in Ohio. University of Akron was a school I liked. That's where I went in. And I had a passion for being an artist when I was young. You know, that was a hobby. So how do I apply artist? And I found this new cool thing which was coming up, which was computer graphics, right? Imaging, image processing. How do I use computers for
Paula, Cynthia, sorry.
Being an artist when I was
We have a delay in the audio. Do you have Facebook open right now?
And I found this new cool thing which was coming up, which was computer graphics, right? Sorry, is that for me? I am
Someone needs to. Sorry. Can you mute your?
Sorry, guys.
Do you have Facebook open right now?
Can we ask all users to make sure that they're muted? I'll check it too. Somebody is hearing the recording.
Is that for me? I am
Someone. Sorry. Can you mute your?
sorry, guys.
Okay, it seems like it's gone now.
Okay. So I'll restart on this slide. And you know, the way I started my career journey is I started with my bachelor's in engineering. And then when I came into US, I wanted to do a master's. And that time, you know, when I was young, the passion I had was being an artist. How could I apply that? So the image processing, graphics was an area that I wanted to focus on, including robotics and controls and, you know, like the cool things that you kind of as a little kid want to play with. So went through the education, and my first job, I loved it. It was about graphics. It was about 3D graphics. And it was kind of using, you know, at some point in my life, I wanted to be a healthcare professional, helping the others. This was kind of a mix of the two. It was medical imaging, where if anybody has had a fracture in their life, you know, you would have taken an X-ray. If anybody's gone through and gotten a little bit more different view, a little bit more complicated X-ray, you go through a 3D rendering that a doctor shows you. The 3D rendering software programs were what I wrote, right? And that was very cool. And that program was later on even extended to use for cancer treatments. So that was my first job. And I joined as a software engineer into the 3D graphics group, but pretty quickly I moved on to working with the R&D group, where we actually worked with the healthcare doctors, with the radiologists, with the oncologists, another STEM professions, right? Radiologists, oncologists, radiologists view your images and tell you whether you have a fracture or something else going on. Oncologists is people who detect brain tumors or people who detect tumors in you. And that's the other profession. How do I extend those things into our software, right? That's what I worked with the doctors to come up with some R&D protocols, R&D software, prototype software, right? It was all prototype software that we would bring in, we would test it out. This thing, we were a lot of FDA these days. FDA approvals could take anywhere from 7 years. So we would go through trial of this software, and 2 years we would get approval. So that's what my first job was. It was pretty cool, working through medical imaging, working through graphics, working through different color shading, unfortunately from an oncology treatment perspective. But that kind of blended what my hobby was as I was a little kid into what I was doing into my real life as a software engineer. Multiple careers all together, and my passions helping in the healthcare field because my family is full of doctors, my mother, both my sisters. So it was kind of giving me that, you know, feel that I was helping to myself. Then over the years, I have transitioned. I worked at Sun Microsystems when it used to be a cool company around. Way back, it was a founder of Java. Some of you might be still learning Java programming. I was one of the first engineers of Java and wrote a lot of Java imaging APIs, as I showed you in my earlier slide, right? Imaging and graphics. Multimedia was something that I really enjoyed doing. And that's where I wrote the first Java imaging APIs for 2D graphics. And that were then again used by healthcare companies for radiology and other areas. Over time, Sun was bought by Oracle. I worked for Oracle. Doing some operating systems, you know, then I moved more into the back-end world. Worked for Hewlett-Packard or HPE, and now I am working for Cisco Systems. Cisco Systems, as you might not be familiar, but you know the back-end network, When you touch your phone connects to a network. Without the network, there's no connectivity. Cisco Backend provides the network. Cisco is the infrastructure. So I would love to say Cisco doesn't have the coolness like, the younger generation want to be like the Facebooks, the Googlers, the Ubers, the Lyfts, Yelps. Those are the cool companies. Cisco is the backbone of all of it, right? Like it's something like if you look at your body, it's your face, which is the cool, but without your spinal cord, you can't work, right? So Cisco is the spinal cord for all of these companies together. So anyways, the STEM careers for me was a software developer. Then I became a product manager. Product managers design products. We work with customers to define what products are for next generation. Then there's product marketing aspect of things where you're creating cool data sheets. You're creating marketing campaigns, right? And all of these through technology, right? So one of the examples, I did not do this, but when you look at the Instagrams of the world, the trends of the world, that is product manager and product marketing world, right? Where a product manager who's actually a lot of times a data science analyst is another STEM career, will take a lot of data of who is watching what on Instagram and putting it into some sort of statistics analysis and coming out with a new trend. So who would imagine, right? We just play on Instagram, see what the trend is. But at the back end, there is a product manager who has a STEM background doing a lot of data analysis and working through what trends are cool, what things need to go away, what are like untrendy things. As I was talking to, not to divert here from my career, but this one example came up. If you looked a few weeks back, there was an Oreo cookie brownie, which was very popular on Instagram. It's gone now, right? It's the Instagram backend data analysis engine, which is kind of making it trendy and not trendy. And that's a STEM career for you right there. So you could be defining the trends for the future. And then from my product marketing role, back to myself now, right? Went into part-time manager. I was an industry solutions manager. And a cool experience over there was, if you shop online, there is this thing back to imaging, right? You can change the color of a particular clothing. If we look at years back, there wasn't anything of that sort. One of the Java APIs I wrote was responsible for how do we change the colors of the clothing. So you had to kind of, figure out your dimensions of the clothes, and the model had to change the colors, right? So something of that sort. That was a retail application that was developed by me and my crew. So it's kind of that applying your STEM careers, but applying your hobbies to it too. And then going back to today, I'm a product manager at Cisco Systems. A product owner, I would say, is where I define the product. I am responsible for driving requirements. I'm responsible for the ups and downs of this business in the market and how Cisco's products fit into the market. So everything from end to end, bringing new products out, bringing products, trying to manage revenue of these, working with our marketing team. So I kind of own, but I work with a lot of cross teams. So on a day-to-day aspect of things, I might be talking to like 25 different people with 25 different goals, whether it's a customer, whether it's a partner, whether it's a technical product manager, technical product marketing manager, our back-end engineers, and all of these, makes me feel great. I love talking to people, and you get different aspects of things, whether you're doing a social conversation for the first 5 minutes, and then next 10 minutes, you're doing a work talk. It's, gives you a balance of everything, best of everything. And then I like to say, what does my day look like? Definitely working hard, right? You have your job. Most of the STEM careers, many of the STEM careers today have become more like 24 plus hours. You can get paid any time of the day. But that's okay because you have a lot of fun with it. This is a photo, this is photo of us working, right? I didn't have my own photo, or I didn't want to pop on my own photo over here. But here's me. We were at a soccer game at Cisco Live Barcelona. That's our annual Cisco Live large conference in Europe. And this was a team building event that we had organized with customers. Other things we do is we do team building, team fun events, cupcake tours in San Francisco. This was at that. We do gym every day. Gym is part of our goal every day. Right now we have a big challenge at work. Who does more than 10,000 steps a day? Who does the most workouts? So it's a lot of fun. And then here we are celebrating 49ers win, right? In the NFC finals, right? Yes, we didn't make it to Super Bowl, but at least right now they think not going to Super Bowl is great because or we would have had a worst case of coronavirus here, right? So anyways, we do a lot of fun things. So STEM careers are not boring that you're sitting in a lab, working as an engineer, just writing code. There is a lot of fun associated with it. I'm just giving you the life here at Cisco, but you should explore the Googlers of the world, the Facebooks of the world, the campuses, beautiful campuses. It's fun to go into work and do a lot of things, meeting a lot of people that come from different backgrounds, right? You travel on work, different things. My other passions outside of work that I get to do because, you know, I'm independent, then that's what we all need to be, is travel around the world, explore the world. When I was single, I would do it by myself. I feel great. I've traveled 45 countries and I'm counting. I have a bigger goal to hit. And then I have a loving family, 2 kids, a husband. Definitely you saw my mom's picture. And my 2 sisters and their family. So a loving family here. We love to travel ourselves too. So lots of fun. That's what my day looks like. Working hard, but having a lot of fun. Again, be independent, be bold is the motto, right? And education helps you get that confidence. So now, just wrapping it all up for yourself, what do you want to do? What's your passion, right? What do you enjoy doing? Is it a hobby? For me, it was when I was a little kid, I loved drawing. I loved being an artist. But now, over the years, I've loved working with the multimedia guys, image processing, right, using computers. A different form of drawing, but it's still made into my career through STEM. STEM helped me go through that. What do you need to support through college years, right? What is the financial? So support through college years, you will need a lot of support, right? You go through, oh, there are a lot of diversions we have in college, right? And how do you stay focused? And then later on, what you want is financial freedom. And anywhere you look at Google, right, STEM careers gives you one of the best financial freedoms you want in your life, right? Whether you want to be a VC funding tons of companies for the future, or you want to be a CEO of a company, or you know, you want to just own your own business or work at a Fortune 500. Like that's what I chose to work for a Fortune 500 because I wanted like a fun life, kind of a mixed balance of work life ratio, and that's what it does. And you know, you need education, and you could be always lucky and make out in anything in your career, but education helps you get to that next level. So how unique you want to be when you grow up, right? What's your motto when you grow up? How do you enjoy helping others? And a STEM career will help you get through all this, right? So you have many choices, whether you want to be a doctor, a zoologist, research analyst, data analyst, and as a Facebook engineer. These days, I'm sure all of you are playing a lot of video games, right? At shelter at home, I have 2 daughters, and they're like stuck on Switch, apart from their study at home on Zoom calls, right? So all of those is possible if you go through a STEM career, right? And that's what is. So pick your favorite and step up to the STEM is where I would guide everybody to go through. And that wraps it up for me. Question, answers, please put in the chat window for Sue or comments on Facebook Live. Thank you so much for listening to me today and for your time. Sue, let me know of any questions that come up.
Yeah, I currently don't have any questions, but anyone feel free to type it in. was super interesting. I think we'll wrap it up then unless anyone has something to type in. Give it another 30 seconds. Oh, here we go. What language did Paula write the body parts GUI platform in?
Oh, could you repeat that? Oh,
That's
the body thing. Yeah. So I actually started with C, C++, and then moved to Java. So that was dated. And though a lot of the backend is still C, C++ when it comes to healthcare environments, there's some Java into it.
Cool. One person asked if you're willing to share your email.
Sure. I have my LinkedIn profile here. If you want to, connect me on LinkedIn or Twitter.
That would be great. A great way to contact. Here's a question. Which one did you like better, back-end or front-end development?
I think I like the front end more because it's closer to the customers. So that's where, when I did the back-end graphics, but without a customer contact, I wasn't too happy from my personality perspective. I, love the social aspect, love the connection with the customer, love how my product is used. And therefore, the front-end aspect was great. And therefore, again, leading to my career today as a product manager, I get to work with the customer. Even though I'm designing a total back-end product, I'm working with the customer to let me see how he's using my product or she is using my product. So definitely, I like to be in touch with my customers.
That's a great answer. And we have a question. Do you have any other advice for students?
I think, my advice is be bold, be unique, think about something that you like to do, but bring it to a STEM background, right? There are a lot of STEM careers out there, and there will be one or the other that fits into your interest, right? But that uniqueness of yourself, your passion is what you still need to keep up. You don't want to get into a job in the future or even while studying that's going to be boring for you, right? So keep that piece going.
That's great. Let's see. What trends do you think will bloom later on? What trends do you see coming? I guess
from STEM. So I think there's a lot of trends from, I'm guessing it's from a career perspective, right? And from a STEM side, today we have not even opened the doors on using artificial intelligence or machine learning into our day-to-day lives, right? And that pieces at different levels is going to bring in a lot of different trends going into the future, a lot of new opportunities coming in. We've all heard about this robotic burger store in San Francisco, right? And that's all operated through robots and machines. But somebody has to program this. And that's what's going to be important, right? As a quick example, right? A child knows how to hold a glass when he's 5 years old, when he's 5 months old. A robot doesn't. You as a software engineer, you as a marketing person need to teach the robot what kind of a glass to hold. And there is a lot of research behind that, and that's going to be the next cool trendy thing, right? The artificial intelligence, machine learning, how it's going to change our lives in the future. And we've already seen some of it. There's a lot of artificial intelligence in the Tesla autonomous car driving. But that, again, is at infancy. It's going to mature a lot more going forward. So different areas, IoTs, different devices on the edge. So again, back to the artificial intelligence, machine learning is where the future applications or STEM applications are going to be.
Great.
So one thing I would like to add to that is, I don't know how many girls we have here, right? So somebody had educated me how, we all have makeups in our day-to-day life, right? We're put in. But to design that makeup, that right product is a chemist's job. That's a STEM profession, right? And that in today's world is becoming a whole AI operated thing, is how do you match the skills? That's becoming an artificial intelligence problem, learning back into a chemist designing this. So all STEM careers are everywhere.
Someone was wondering about moving from company to company. Is that a good thing, a bad thing? How do you find the perfect job for you? Should you be afraid to change?
No, I don't think you should be afraid to change. I have not myself moved from a company to company that often, except a few times in my career. But it depends on your personality and how you feel about it. I don't think moving from company to company is a bad thing, unless you're doing it every 2-3 months, right? I mean, you want to learn about the company, and that learning about the company, learning about the application takes at least a year or two. And then it's a good time to hop on to something else, right? But in your initial years of your career, you have to keep yourself with the market, right? Whatever STEM career you choose, it's good to keep yourself with the change of technology. Like, say, if you're a software engineer, right? Keep up with the changing trends or changing languages in one sense, or changing, there are different things in the technology that change. So in the initial years, you want to keep yourself through those change in your life, and therefore changing your companies, it becomes important, because the company you might be today might not be focusing on the next technology 2 years out, right? So something I would advise, yes, definitely do it, whether it's changing from company to company, or what I had done is changing groups to groups, which gave me enough opportunities.
And one more question. What techniques do you use to engage your customers, and how do you gain new customers?
So in today's world, from a product management perspective, there are a lot of different techniques from a customer side of things, whether, you initially, like Googles of the world and all, use the design thinking or the A/B testing, where you kind of are testing your customers, giving them multiple options and testing it that route. For backend products like mine, where it's more enterprise focused, we have a whole sales team, and we connect with them, once a quarter on either online sessions or going face-to-face, working through what they have seen, liked in our products, not liked on our products. So that face-to-face, we have a questionnaire, surveys that we run. We run the different, I guess surveys is one other form of feedback that we get from our customers. But my aspect is I focus a lot on the face-to-face feedback, then interviews, talking to customers. Any big company has what they call a briefing center. So we have customers that we bring in on a daily basis. And that's one way we as product managers to meet with them, learn about their use cases, learn about how they are deploying. A lot of customers deploy different ways, and then take it from there. So that's a big way that we learn from our customers. And so I think there was a second question to that.
No, I think that was true, just how to engage and get new customers. Okay. So it depends what role you have, I guess. I think we're about out of time, though, so we have to wrap up. So if you have anything else to add, Paula? Otherwise, thank you, everyone, for attending. Go ahead, Paula.
Yeah, definitely thank you. And reach out to me on LinkedIn or Twitter as needed. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.